If you've ever been to a tropical beach, you may have seen some colorful starfish and other elegant organisms. You've probably even seen them in your favorite kids' TV show. These beautiful sea creatures are known as echinoderms, which are from the phylum Echinodermata species. The world currently consists of around 7,000 different echinoderm species and 13,000 species that no longer exist. You may be more familiar with the main species, the starfish. The starfish is only one of the many extravagant species that exist in this phylum.
The structure of the species can seem quite abnormal. They mainly have a radial symmetry structure. These organisms have no brain, heart, or eyes. Echinoderms can be carnivores, detritus foragers, or planktonic feeders depending on their species. Each species has a special way of consuming their food. Echinoderms can reproduce sexually and asexually. However, sexual reproduction occurs when the organisms release eggs and sperm into the water and results in fertilization.
Each species of echinodermata live under different conditions, but the main environmental adaptation is aquatic environments. Some may be able to survive drying up on shores, and others can tolerate the brackish water. Their outer body can adapt easily to different conditions by camouflage and flexible body structure. They can also regenerate certain body parts and organs, so if they become injured, they can replace the damaged organs and structures. However, some conditions that are hard for this phylum to adapt and survive under are changes in temperature and salinity.
Some examples from the Echinodermata species are sea urchins, sea cucumbers, and sea stars. First, we have Devin talking about sea urchins.
Sea urchins are 3 to 10 centimeters with spikes to protect and camouflage themselves from predators. Most commonly, their bodies and spikes can be black, red, purple, pink, and or brown. There were 100 transparent tubes to stick themselves to the ocean floor and to trap algae, seagrass, and seaweed. And the tubes also act as feet, but they don't move around that often since they are nocturnal and live half under and half outside rocks, mud, coral reefs, and seagrass. They can be found in warm and cold water all over the world, but you can primarily find them in Hawaii, Australia, and the Caribbean. Sea urchins reproduce sexually when they are 2 to 5 years, and a typical sperm is 1 times 5 microns long plus the tail. The sex of a sea urchin is unknown until they release egg or sperm. The average life of a sea urchin is 100 to 200 years unless a human, sea otter, starfish, birds, fish, crab, or lobster or octopus eat the eggs of the sea urchin or the sea urchin itself.
Next, Madison will be talking about sea cucumbers. When you hear sea cucumber, you instantly think of just normal cucumber underwater. However, it is much more interesting. There are around 1,250 known species. These aquatic animals are shaped like cucumbers with a soft surface. They have tube feet to attach themselves to other surfaces, and they actually do not have a brain. You can find sea cucumbers in basically all ocean environments on Earth, either deep in the sea or in the shallow waters. This species uses their tube feet surrounding their mouths to eat small items in the sea, such as algae, minute aquatic organisms, and waste materials. When observing the reproductive strategies in sea cucumbers, they may appear quite abnormal. They reproduce sexually by releasing the egg and sperm into the ocean, then external fertilization will eventually occur. They also reproduce asexually by transverse fission, which is where the top and bottom of the cucumbers rotate and eventually split into 2 separate organisms. The most frightening predators of the sea cucumbers are humans, because some countries around the world will eat these nutritious organisms. Here are some more facts about the sea cucumber. Sea cucumbers are often found in large groups altogether. They can eject certain organs out of their anus that can be regenerated in order to distract predators, and the respiratory system of a sea cucumber relies on the inhalation through the anus. And finally, we have Kendra talking about sea stars.
The anatomy of the sea star is generic because of the number of body parts are so many and sometimes different. Most sea stars have 5 arms that protrude out of a central disc. Sometimes the sea star may have more than 5 arms and sometimes less. The sea star is able to detach their arm and then it is regrown. The sea star contains most of their vital organs in the arms. On the underside of each arm, there are suction cups. The arms may also have a pedicellura to ensure that the arms stay clear of algae. The sea star has tough and sharp skin with a calcareous spine. A network of calcareous plates from the external skeleton which helps the sea star protect itself from predators. They have a digestive system and the mouth is found on the underside, whereas the anus is located on top of the sea star. The sea star does not have any real mouth parts to help catch your prey. Sea stars are also most known for their bright colors. The most common colors a sea star can be is red or orange, but sometimes they are green or blue. The upper side of the sea star is always a darker shade of the color than the underside. Sea stars are mostly found in warm and tropical oceans. They can be found at the bottom of deep rocky oceans or in the coral reef of shallow waters. Sea stars can also be found on top and in the sand on beaches. Sea stars are very different from humans in the way they eat, move, and breathe. Sea stars are carnivores, so they tend to eat meat, such as clams, mussels, and small fish. In order to catch their prey, sea stars use their whole body and the suction on their feet to pry the meats. Sea stars are found in bodies of water, but they cannot swim. In order to move around, they use the underside of their tube feet to grab onto rocks or hard surfaces. This allows them to seek out their prey. Respiration and gas exchange in a sea star can occur in two places on the star. They can use the thin skin on the ends of the tubed or dermal gills and papillae. The dermal gills are lined with cilia that produce a current from movement, but these are not used to breathe. The current from gills bring fresh water to the sea star to replace the water that is released carbon dioxide in. The sea star is not a male or female, so this allows predators to attack more frequently because they are both. The sexual fertilization of sea stars can occur externally when they release a huge amount of sperm and eggs in the ocean. Environmental factors can contribute to the timing of the release. They are carried along with the current for approximately 2 months. The eggs and sperm form part of the zooplankton during this 2-month period, and it then grows when it consumes phytoplankton. The asexual reproduction of sea stars occurs when they detach one of their arms and eventually regrow it. This then regenerates a whole new sea star from the arm and a portion of the central disc. The predators that the sea star face include fish, sea turtles, crabs, and birds. A predator could even be another sea star. Echinoderms play an important role in the ecosystem by eating seaweed to keep its growth in check, and they are a staple diet for many animals. They are also used for medicines and more.
Echinoderms are a fascinating species as the embryo can reproduce outside of the woman. Echinoderms do not acquire blood of their body or a heart, instead they use their water vascular system.
So next time you're traveling and you're near the ocean, keep your eyes open for these creatures and maybe eat a few. They are a delicacy.